Next tier. This is tier 3. I think I already said who is the first player in tier 3. And I have Devin Booker here. And I say that again, and this is to me reflective. The fact that Booker is 10 on this list, and I don't think I've already made very clear my feelings that I don't think Devin Booker is a superstar. In my very, 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 very narrow definition of the word. I honestly think like Devin Booker is going to top out as like barely a top 15 player. I don't think we're ever going to look around and be like, oh yeah, Devin Booker, he's a top 10 player in the sport right now today. I don't think so. And yet I have him at 10 on this list because I think you look around the league right now at your guys who are like under 28 and there's a lot of talent, but there's also holes. And as we're going to get to in the next bunch of guys in this category, I think the fact that like Devin Booker is just so so solid. He's just rock. It's like Jason Tatum being number 3, Devin Booker number 10. It's like, because these guys are rock solid. I said it when I talked about Tatum. I think Tatum's ever going to be one of the 5 best players in the sport. I don't think that Devin Booker's ever going to be one of the best 10, but I think he deserves to be here. So, yeah.
So this is where I will point to some feedback. Shout out to Ryan Huang, who left a lengthy comment in reply to the last episode, who actually vindicated, or at least didn't disagree, or said there was no problem with putting Luka above Giannis, especially if you're John and you're projecting higher things for Luka the way you have. It makes sense to want the guy 5 years younger. Where he vehemently disagreed is putting Cade ahead of Booker. And with I'll pull out the full comment, but the gist of it was just like Booker is better than you're giving him credit for. That this is a guy that was first team All NBA. This most recent season was the if you want, I know you wouldn't call him this, but the younger superstar on a team that just won 64 games. So I will counter with a question, John. Is part of your positioning for Devin Booker here, is it leaked into or part of your overall, I don't want to say disdain, but your distrust of the Phoenix Suns and the stability of their contention status?
No, it's pretty simple for me. I think Devin Booker, he is, he's a wing, like he's a guard / wing. He's not a point guard, right? He's not a guy who's going to run your offense. There's a reason why this team took a leap when they got Chris Paul. They needed Chris Paul. They needed Chris Paul as an organizer. They needed Chris Paul as the guy to, and like Devin Booker. And like the other thing about Devin Booker is like quietly, he's not like he lives in the mid range, which as we've seen in the playoffs can be very valuable because there are teams that design their entire defenses to stop or to allow those shots rather. And when you're someone like Phoenix, who has 2 guys who are eminently comfortable taking those shots, you can win a lot of games and you win a lot of playoff games like they did over the last 2 years. What's tough is like Devin Booker is not someone that lives at the rim. He's not someone, contrary to like popular perception, he's not someone that shoots nearly as many threes as guys like Trey or Steph do. He likes to live in the mid range. So I think when you're talking about his ceiling in terms of like, on one hand, like would it shock me if he led the league in scoring one day? No, it wouldn't shock me. But I don't think his offensive impact is ever going to be in that top echelon of guys. And in Cade, again, I'm projecting so much here, but again, there's an asset ranking. Mm-hmm. If the other parts of his game come along, you have a, whatever he is, 6'7", 6'8" point guard, like legitimate full stop point guard who could do, like other stuff too. And I think there's a greater value there.
So the other part of Brian's objection was, and I promise not to spend too much on number 10.
That's fine.
We got a lot. We got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
But the other objection is you have him an entire tier below Ja when Ja was just, is this because Ja is 4 years younger than Booker. It's literally you're playing the age card there, even though Ja finished a tier lower in All NBA this past season.
Yeah, Ja's in his third. He just finished his third year.
Right. So like you're projecting that over the next 5 years, it'll be more valuable to have. It would be more valuable to invest in Ja Morant starting now than a guy that just made first team All NBA.
And again, it like Ja Morant went out this year and didn't he lead the league in assists or like come close to leading the league in assists, something like that. He was, I don't know, he was fourth or fifth or something.
We're both doing the same thing, looking up assists. Yeah,
he was 18th. Excuse me. He averaged 6.7 assists per game. So
I had the playoff stats pulled up. My bad. You're right.
Yeah,
he led the league in assists in the playoffs. It was like 7 games or 8 games, but yeah.
And Devin Booker is a guy who like he does some playmaking, but he's not. You're not going to throw the ball to him and just like have him like run your offense in the way that a Ja Morant does. And I think that is where the big time value add comes in for Ja. And I also, factored in some of the other, like I said, like the culture stuff. I think is big too.
Same thing for Anthony Edwards then, that you're similar prototype. I mean, Edwards is much more athletic.
Edwards, Booker. I think, is...
But in 5 years, you can project that he can have a higher ceiling than what Devin Booker is right now.
I think Edwards' ceiling is like one of the top 2 or 3 players in the league.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Last line of this comment. Why do you hate RJ Barrett? Anyway, number 11.
I want to say again, real quickly, Devin Booker averaged fewer threes last season than Anthony Edwards, which might not seem like a huge deal. But like Anthony Edwards wasn't a shooter coming out of college. So the fact that we can project like, holy crap, is this guy at some point going to be taking like 10, 11 threes a game and like high degree difficulty threes and like, like that's, and a guy with that athleticism, I'm just, very high enough. But listen, I have Devin Booker 10th. I don't have him 20th.
Why do you hate Devin Booker?